last week in review, the fourth week of January. Basically, it was a very interesting week as it was the first week of Trump's presidency. And really, we saw some dramatic moves in some stocks. But you know what? With each executive order that he signed and each time he opened his mouth, we saw a dramatic move, you know, an extreme. And then basically the intraday traders took advantage of that, and after that there was very little follow through. It doesn't mean that, you know, everything that he's talking about, like with oil, for example, with the new pipeline, immediately there was a spike and then it all pulled back, as well as the Canadian dollar shot up in value versus the US dollar. But in reality, that's a deal that's going to take more than a year to actually go through with permits and everything like that. So the reality set in and everything sort of equalized. So with Trump being the president as of this week, we're seeing extremes, but not a lot of follow through, which does make it a little bit more difficult to trade, especially on Friday. You saw that there was a divergence between the two markets as far as NASDAQ and Dow. You had the Dow that closed down and NASDAQ that closed up. So it does make it harder to trade. And in that sense, you want to be very, very careful and stick to your mental stops or your hard stops, because if it starts to go against you, it could go strong against you in the wrong direction. So you want to make sure that you are trading smart, and you want to know your entry and exit strategies before you get into the stock, so that if you see that it's going up and you're going to try to go ahead and capitalize that, know where you want to get out or put a stop in to protect those profits as it's going up, because it could very quickly drop back down. For the low float runners, we haven't seen that many that have had super long runs to them. A lot of them have spiked and dropped right off. There are a couple, which I will mention on my watch list as well, that are having some continuation going over the weekend and after hours markets, new 52-week highs, that sort of stuff to watch for Monday. But it is very difficult that some of the runners were not seeing as strong a continuation as we did, you know, 2 weeks ago with ETRM and Globus. They're just not having as much volatility and continuation. As far as myself, you've been able to see me, if you've been following me, that, you know, I'm now 38 weeks pregnant. I'm tired, waking up at like 3 in the morning every morning and not being able to get back to sleep, which I am using advantage to that time to go ahead and get the book done. But the downside is that I do end up exhausted, a bit more baby brain, a little bit more fog to my mind. And it's not the best trading scenario. So sometimes the best trade is no trade, right? I can sit there and I can watch the market. I can watch the price action, but you got to pay attention to yourself. And if you're not feeling 100%, don't force it. You can still watch, but don't necessarily force what you can wait for a better day, a clearer head to go ahead and move forward. So that's where I am right now, and the doctor's anticipating the baby to be here in about the next 2 weeks. So I'm very excited about that, and looking forward to getting the book off to the editor, 60% of the way done. If you guys are interested, just email me at Carpe Profit and I will add you to the list so that we have the information for when it is up and running, and it will be available on Amazon. As far as the watch list going forward for the week, for my 5 longs, there's PULM, which was strong on Friday. It sort of wavered around $3. And then after hours, they did release an 8K, and it spiked up to new highs for the year of 390. And that has 13.19 million in the float. That's probably the strongest one, I would say. Watch on Monday for above 390. We have LTRX, which was an earnings winner on Thursday. And after hours, that went up to 233, and it has 10.55 million in the float. So I would watch that for continuation as well on Monday. As an earnings winner, they typically, as I've seen, tend to go up for roughly 3 days, and then there's more profit taking. We have LRN, if it can break 20, that was another earnings winner from Thursday, and that has roughly 37 million in the float. We have CLBS, if it breaks the price target of 475. CSBR, if it breaks 438, and that does have 793 in the float. If you look at CSBR, it sort of looks like a big giant cup, and it's coming back up to that top again. Now, it could break out, or it could very well just be a double top and fail. So that's one that it could be, you know, wishy-washy. It could be a long or a short, but you just have to watch the price action. As far as shorts, I have CLS. If it were to break down through 1320, We have RGSE, which was a reverse split on Thursday, and that one is down to 290 if it breaks down through there. If you look back and you see Dries was also a reverse split on the 19th of January, and that one opened back up at 7, and now it's down to $2. Dries has about 186,000 in the float, so it could very well bounce if they have a press release or something like that, but it could continue down further. So I'm expecting RGSE as a reverse split to continue on down. VRAY, it ran from $3 to $6 in about 5 days, and if it breaks down below 575, it looks like that one's going to be a nice short as well, because you've got 100% gain, and it looks like it could very easily drop down quickly. NOVN, if it breaks down through $4, we have AZO, which I would look more as a put option because it's so expensive at $720. Excuse me, it's about 730 is where it closed on Friday. But if it breaks down through 725, it looks like it's making new 52-week lows, and it could very well fade down from there. So that's a potential put option. And then we have ELF, which if it breaks 25, then it could go to 24 or lower. And it did have its initial IPO as of September 22nd. So those are the ones for the week, guys. You know, who knows, next week I might be holding my new little bundle of joy in my arms. As I always say, carpe profit, seize those profits one at a time, and don't force stuff. Be careful, you know, trade smart, and make it happen.